Welcome to day 4, PMBOK Guide Basics, the ultimate playbook for project management excellence. Now, you would ask, why am I talking about the PMBOK Guide if I provided this book for you? Well, it's a resource that you need to use if you want some further information, you want some further clarification on some of the information that I'm giving you here in this book. The PMBOK Guide is over 800 pages long, but it has all the information that you need in order to be successful. And so as you move throughout this guide, if you want to deep dive into some of the information that I'm conveying here, because obviously I had to condense it and give you the important stuff so that you can grasp it first. If you want to deep dive, this is going to help you deep dive into that PMBOK guide and understand what the PMBOK guide's purpose is. PMBOK guide has the ITTOs for every single process. We're not going to put that in this book because that's something that you necessarily don't need to know specifically unless you want to know about the specific process. Because a lot of these ITTOs or a lot of these inputs and tools and techniques are the same. They're used similarly between each process, right? But each one uses different inputs and each one uses different techniques. And while they may have overlapping techniques and tools used and overlapping inputs, there's 4 different calls. And so you'll see that the PMBOK guide offers some clarification on some of these concepts. So the objectives for day 4 is to understand the structure and purpose of the PMBOK guide, learn how the PMBOK PMBOK is project management body of knowledge, just for your clarification. Learn how PMBOK integrates traditional, agile, and hybrid approaches. Learn how PMBOK's 10 knowledge areas and 49 processes connect to real-world projects, and then gain some familiarity with the exam's emphasis on the PMBOK guide. So what is it? At the heart of the project management professional lies the project management body of knowledge, a comprehensive reference that details best practices and standards used worldwide. Imagine it as an official playbook that project managers turn to for guidance and structure. While it does not tell you exactly how to run every kind of project step by step, it outlines universally accepted principles, processes, and techniques that help ensure your projects run smoothly, no matter the nature or industry. It's a language, guys. This is what the PMBOK is used for. And that's exactly what it says. It's a reference. It's something you should reference. It's not something you should study from. And so it's not a study tool. It's a study reference. It's something that you can, it's like having a PMI or PMBOK study sheet that you can look at for some clarification, while you're going through some of these questions. It's something you can reference, but not something you should study from. So why it matters? By understanding the PMBOK guide, you're not just memorizing terms, you're equipping yourself with a versatile toolkit that can help you make informed decisions, lead teams confidently, and handle challenges with a tried and true approach. And this is a all-encompassing project management guide or reference that allows you to share the same language with other project management professionals. So just make sure that you understand what its use is for, or make sure you understand the use of the PMBOK guide. The structure, right? It organizes vast amount of knowledge into logical sections. Instead of presenting a random assortment of tips and tricks, it's broken down into specific knowledge areas and processes. Like I said, it's a lengthy book, and tips and tricks may not be what you're looking for if you're just trying to study and gain a deeper knowledge of the language itself, right? Language being how the best practices, best strategies, and so on and so forth. But if you're trying to truly learn, you want the tips and tricks. You want to understand, right? You want to gain the top level information before you can dive deep down into the weeds, because sometimes you can get lost in the weeds before you truly understand the bigger picture and how the weeds go into one another and go in and feed into the big picture. So you'll have knowledge areas that it emphasizes, right? Processes that it emphasizes. And the purpose is that it serves as a reference point, right? It doesn't dictate one size fits all solutions. Instead, it helps you understand what needs to be done and suggests methods to do it, right? And so we're going to talk about the next subchapter, which is integrating traditional, agile, and hybrid approaches. Right? Projects come in all shapes and sizes. Some follow a traditional step-by-step path known as predictive or waterfall approach, where you define everything up front and then move forward in a straight line, where others are more agile, embracing iterative development, frequent feedback, and adaptability as the project evolves. And then there are hybrid approaches, right, that blend both styles depending on the project's needs. So how the PMBOK guide helps you with that, it gives you a solid foundation on how traditional works, right, predictive projects work, and how the processes work well when goals, requirements, and technologies are well understood from the start, versus agile products or projects, right, which are originally focused heavily on traditional methods. Agile projects, newer additions integrate Agile principles, acknowledging that some projects benefit from shorter iterative cycles and constant adaptation. And then you have some hybrid projects, which real world projects often aren't purely traditional or purely agile. The PMBOK guide provides a common language and a set of principles that can be adapted, helping you pick and choose between elements from both worlds. So you'll have traditional projects that you have a traditional infrastructure built for the project that encompasses some agile concepts within the project itself. And so you more often than not will see hybrid projects and hybrid teams that work well together in accomplishing the goal. So connecting the knowledge areas and processes to real world projects. It's one thing to read about 10 knowledge areas and 49 processes. It's another to see how they work in practice. The PMBOK guide isn't just a theory, it's a reflection of what experienced project managers do daily. And so they created this in mind using the wealth of knowledge from probably very experienced project managers across the world and across the globe, using their tools and techniques in order to create a language that we all can understand and have a shared understanding of. So, for example, scope management in the real world, you're managing a project to build a new app. You don't just start coding, right? You define what needs to be built, the scope, gather requirements, and break the work down into manageable chunks. Risk management, right? Every project faces uncertainties like potential delays in manufacturing or fluctuating costs. PMBOK guide risk management processes help you identify those risks early, plan responses, and keep surprises under control. And then you have communications management, right? In real world projects, you might need to send regular updates to your sponsor or hold weekly meetings with your team. Following the PMBOK guide's guidelines ensures everyone stays informed and aligned, preventing misunderstandings. And that's important. Then I have a graphic down here below that shows and kind of emphasizes what we just talked about. And so the knowledge area is practical. Let's explore deeper into how each knowledge area translates into real world actions. And so it kind of goes in and talks about scope management, risk management, communications management, and how they are practical, the application, how you would kind of break it down. I want you guys to go through this and actually read through it. It's important that you're reading through it, and I'm not reading through it in this instance because it's going to help you digest it a little bit more, but also understand where you want to focus your efforts when it comes to these categories. So go through, highlight what you think is stands out to you, and it's going to help you study, right? So you want to think of the 10 knowledge areas and their 49 processes as a big toolbox. You won't use every single tool for every project, but having them at your disposal means you can handle a wide range of challenges from negotiating vendor contracts to ensuring quality standards are met, just like a seasoned pro. So if the exam's emphasis on the PMBOK guide and what to expect on the exam, you're going to expect some core concepts, right? You need to understand what processes belong to which process group and knowledge areas. And what's going to help you with this, if you've already been doing the processing map game, and I'm going to keep plugging it because it's very important that you understand the importance of this game. It greatly affected my understanding of project management. And when it came to understanding what processes I needed to focus on within each question, it's leaps and bounds above where I was before I started the process map game. And that's only a tool that I found out through the Reddit subgroup. And that's something that you can focus on and you can lean on when you move throughout that process. Some applications and integration, expect questions that test how you apply PMBOK principles in real scenarios, and then comparing approaches. As agile and hybrid methodologies become more common, the exam may ask you how to adapt traditional methods when project requirements are uncertain or rapidly changing. So it's not about studying the PMBOK guide is not just about passing the exam. It's about embracing the professional standard that can elevate your project management career and credibility. And then we talk about the 10 knowledge areas again. We revisit them just so that you have a key understanding. And then we get into some scenarios. And like I said before, I'm not going to read through each scenario, but I want you guys to understand each scenario. So read through them, right? Integration management, scope management, schedule management, risk management, and bringing it all together. It talks about how all these relate to each other. And then some real life tips for beginners, right? Communication is key. Construction projects involve multiple teams working simultaneously. A strong communication plan that includes daily updates, weekly progress meetings, and transparent escalation channels ensures everyone is aligned and potential issues are addressed quickly, right? By tailoring PMBOK principles to the unique needs of construction, you can manage complexity, minimize risks, and achieve project success. So we want to talk about some of the things that are a little bit different between the predictive and traditional. and we're going to get into agile and I said predictive and traditional. Predictive and traditional are the same thing. Traditional, predictive, or agile, and then hybrid. So agile and hybrid approaches in PMBOK, some of the principles that go along with them, specifically agile principles. You have Scrum, Kanban, XP that are key aspects of agile, right? Agile methodologies. These are methodologies, sub methodologies within agile itself, but agile principles, and they all encompass this, emphasize adaptability, continuous delivery, and collaboration. And these are the common frameworks that you would use, right? Which is Scrum, Kanban, and XP. Hybrid approaches, right, combine flexibility of agile with the structure of traditional methods. Example is using agile sprints for software development, but a traditional approach for budgeting and procurement, right? So how much money you plan on spending throughout the entirety of each iteration. And then you have ITTOs, right? And that gets back into what we talked about yesterday, the inputs, tools, and techniques and outputs. And it kind of gives you some examples of how you would use them within the hybrid approach. And then common challenges in using PMBOK, right? Memorizing ITTOs. This is why you wouldn't use it as a study tool, but only as a reference. It's hard to memorize each ITTO for 49 processes, but it focuses on understanding how they connect logically. And so if you want to gain a deeper understanding, you can always go back and reference them. And you get them when you sign up for PMI itself. You get the PMBOK. So sign up for PMI, pay the membership fee, and go ahead and use this as a reference. Adapting to agile elements, right? Learn to blend iterative and traditional approaches, and then process overload, focusing on most relevant processes for your project type. And that's it's hard to use the PMBOK because there's so much processes within this. Like I said, process overload is very real. And so you have the PMBOK guide that has the knowledge areas, processes, agile, hybrid phases. And so you want to make sure that you can focus on these things and understand them at a deeper level. And so whatever you don't understand from this book, when you go out and you take some of these mock exams and you evaluate where you are, if you want a deeper understanding, you can always go back and look at the PMBOK guide for as a reference. And they have it as a PDF to where you can just, Control F and search some of these items so that you can gain that deeper understanding a lot faster, and you don't have to go to the physical copy itself. Day 4 of 30, we are making our way through the first week. So congratulations. End of day reflection, we want you to spend time reviewing the PMBOK guide structures and how it integrates agile and hybrid methods, focusing on understanding, not memorizing, the relationships between the process groups, knowledge areas, and ITTOs. Tomorrow, we'll explore the project manager's role and its alignment with the stakeholders' needs. If you still want to study, make sure you do the process mapping game and flashcards, understanding the terms, but also understanding where the knowledge areas and processes meet, because this is going to help you and pay dividends down the road when you're learning some of these processes in themselves. So without further ado, make sure that you like and subscribe to this video, hit the notification bell, and I hope to see you tomorrow on day 4. I think it's day 4. Maybe day 5. Let me see. Day 5. See you tomorrow on day 5. Peace.